Welcome, everybody. I'm your lady, Edie B, and I am so excited to introduce my listeners, my RSVP listeners, to this incredible vocalist. His name is Mr. Nicolas Bearde. Good evening, or hello, Mr. Bearde.
Well, hi, Edie. How are you?
I'm good, as well as to be expected, as a matter of fact. I should say hello like before.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Because the way I met you before is through your music. I was
Uh-huh.
preparing my show and I wanted to play Hello Like Before by Bill Withers, but I wanted to do, I have it by other artists like Nancy Wilson and Freddie Cole and
Oh,
others.
really?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I wanted a fresh voice. So I went
Uh-huh.
to the Google machine and up
Uh-huh.
popped Mr. Nicolas Bearde live at Yoshi's. And
Oh, nice.
oh my goodness, we just had a great time on my show that Sunday.
That's
You
good.
have done other Bill Withers tunes. Use Me with Vincent Herring, and you did
Yes,
Can We Pretend? What
we
is it
pretend.
about Mr. Bill Withers that you love so much?
Well, he's just a great songwriter, great storyteller, and he writes beautiful music.
Excellent.
He writes music that has there's information there. There's a story there. You learn something from his music. Yeah,
And
the great folk wisdom, I'd like to say.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, because
I
he talks about real situations and real people in real situations, and it's very compelling music, I think.
And yeah, and you do it well. You do it well.
Thank
And
you.
live at Yoshi's, that's an
Uh huh.
incredible CD. I love
Oh,
every
thank you.
tune on that CD, as a matter of fact.
Thank you.
We recently had a concert here in St. Louis. We called it
Mhm.
Music at the Intersection. And we spotlighted all of our local artists on our biggest stages here in St. Louis. And one of the ways in which other artists were able to come for that weekend and be on stage was if they had some kind of relationship with a St. Louis artist.
Uh
For
huh.
instance, we had Gregory Porter. And
Uh huh.
Gregory Porter is not from St. Louis, but he has two band members that are from St. Louis. His bass player Jamal Nichols and his drummer Emmanuel Harold. And I was just
Okay.
thinking, I was saying, wow, it would be so cool if Mr. Beard was here because he has a relationship to St. Louis, and that relationship is Bobby McFerrin.
Oh yeah.
Now, did you know Bobby McFerrin was from St. Louis?
I didn't know back that far. I knew he lived in L.A. for a while,
Uh huh.
and when I met him, he was living here in the Bay Area, in the San Francisco Bay Area, where I live.
Why don't you tell
But
us
no,
about? Yeah, why don't you
I
tell
didn't
us
know
about your
those connections.
relationship with him?
Wow. Well, we toured for a number of years with the group Voicestra, which started in 1986, and we toured well into the 2000s. I think our last tour was about 2006 or 7. And then Bobby kind of just went back solo and was doing some things like with Chick Corea and Herbie Hancock and, doing duo sort of scenarios. So the vocal group thing he kind of put to the side for a minute.
And so that was like an a cappella group.
Yeah, it was completely a cappella. Yeah, it was. There were 13 singers originally, and then it um, went down to 11 singers, including him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we toured with in the 2000s was that smaller group. Yeah, and it
Wow,
was all vocal, a cappella, and completely improvised. Uh,
amazing.
for
So
most of it, yeah.
that was your first introduction into professional singing.
Oh no, no, no! I'd been singing for years before that, but primarily R&B. And then in the mid '80s, I started getting into jazz and exploring that music.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I've remained. I still love R&B and still do a few R&B tunes here and there.
Yeah, but you
But
jazz them up
yeah,
though. Yeah.
I jazz them up. Yeah, yeah. I think one of the things from working with Bobby is that it kind of boundaries were not his thing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like what can we do with this? What can do we do with this tune with this arrangement or, just deconstruct it. Don't have an arrangement. Let's just try something different completely.
Wow.
Yeah. The whole premise of our show really in the second half of the Voicestra life was completely improvised. So we would walk on stage not knowing what we were going to do.
Amazing. I wish I could have seen that. Yeah. You guys got any video of any of that anywhere?
I'm sure there's video. I'm sure he has video. I've never seen it, but I'm sure there's video on the website. You can find, if you put in Voicestra in YouTube, I'm sure you could find video of our either bootleg video or some kind of video of our performances, because we performed all over the world. We performed all over Europe, and I've seen a couple of like iPhone videos of some of our concerts. So it's out there.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you have a connection. So next year when they have the music at the intersection, I'm going to raise my hand and says, why don't we have Mr. Bearde?
Oh, I would love that. I would love
to see you here in St. Louis.
And I've never performed in St. Louis, I'm sorry to say.
Well, I'm sorry to say, too, but we're going to have to. Well, I'm glad I'm introducing you right now to St. Louis. So
Good.
In your bio, you cite your mother as being your inspiration for singing. Tell us about those card parties that I am familiar with. So let us.
Well, you know Bid Whist, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Jen Rummy, all of that stuff. So her and her girlfriend. Well, my father died when I was very young. I was about 10 years old, and my mother would, hang out with her girlfriends, were her support system, more or less, and they were all, fast talking women. They loved a good sip of J&B Scotch or something, some Schlitz, malt liquor,
All ladies.
All ladies. All ladies. And they would get in there, and I'd hear them talking about Cab Calloway and Duke Ellington, because Cab had that hair.
Oh, yes.
All off the side, so they love that, And they'd get in there and just get to talking, and I would actually, crawl on the floor, because they'd keep the door closed, to keep from waking up the kids. There were, 6 of us living in that house, so
wow.
Keep the door closed. But I would crawl on the floor into the hallway so I could hear what they were talking about and hear the music that they were playing. So, and never got caught, thank goodness.
Really? Now, we had the same thing at our house. My mom had the card parties and invite all of the women, but we were actually allowed to come out in the living room with them at the beginning of the party. We had all of the little food and stuff that they had made, but after a while, when they started drinking, we had to go back in the back. But I got to see a lot of what went on, and the music that they listened to was just incredible. And I understand your mother really loved Moonlight in Vermont.
Yes. Dinah Washington.
Oh, yes.
Nancy Wilson, of course. Just all the greats.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Cab Calloway, Duke Ellington, all of that. Sarah Vaughan.
So that's why you have. That's why you choose your music so well, because you have a background of all. I was going to ask you, do you love Nancy Wilson more than I do? Because I heard You Better Go. And you did it just like Nancy.
Well, it's interesting, because she's not the one that originated that song.
Right.
Yeah, there's a brother named Derek, and I can't think of his last name right now, but he actually lived in England for a while, but he's the originator of that song.
So it's a man song, huh?
It was a man song originally, and then Nancy came along afterwards and put some jazz in it,
Yes.
Yeah, but no, he did that song, and I think I was maybe about 14 or so when that song came out. I don't want to date myself here, but it was sometime before Nancy did it. So,
well, I just love the way you did that, and I could just tell that just by the choices that you make, I can just tell that somebody like your mother was in your life with music that she wanted her kids to hear.
Absolutely.
How does she feel about you being a singer?
Well, she's passed on. Unfortunately,
Sorry to hear
she's
that.
left us. She's left us about 4 years ago. But
Hmm.
no, she really loved the fact that I was a singer. I think for the longest time wasn't sure if I was serious about it because I had other careers. I was in electronics for a while, and I was in the
Really?
military for a little bit. Yeah, well, you got to pay the bills.
Yes.
And I went into the military and became a radar technician. And of course, when I came out of there, I just stayed with that field and went into computers and that sort of thing.
And you went into
for no-
acting too, as a matter of fact.
and yeah, and went into acting and
Danny
I was
Glover, tell us how Danny Glover helped you from the
well, that
beginning.
was very interesting. We did a play here in 1983 or 4. I'm not sure the exact year, but it was a live radio broadcast, and they had live combat, stage combat. They had singers live, and all the acting was done live at various mic positions on stage, and it had an invited audience to view the performance as well as broadcasting it on radio.
Mm-hmm.
Danny was the star, and this was right during the time he was filming that first, what's the movies, the famous movies of him and Mel Gibson.
I know, I just can't call it right.
Yeah, I can't either. I am of a certain age, so this information
Me
comes
too.
and goes.
Thank you. Remember I told you about the glasses. Okay.
Yes. He was filming that first one, but he was the star of this one, and Nobuko Miyamoto, the Japanese artist who was also quite well known here, were the stars of this broadcast, and it featured Atila Shabazz and all the luminaries from the local theater community were a part of it, and it was quite something. It was my first exposure to theater in a grand scale.
But you went from theater to film really quickly.
Fairly quickly,
Yeah.
but after doing that play with Danny, I asked him for his advice, and he suggested I study with an acting teacher here, Jean Shelton was her name, very famous acting teacher at that time. And I studied with her for a year and came out, and I did like 3 plays in the first year. I graduated from her school. And it's just a natural migration into film, to start doing commercials and auditioning for projects. And I got an agent fairly quickly, and which was right about the same time I started performing with Bobby McFerrin. So, the first agent interviewed me and said, really, I didn't want to see you as an actor. I just wanted to see who was singing with Bobby McFerrin. So
Wow.
she called me in, but she said, I don't think you're quite ready for the acting role yet, but in about a year, I'm going to come and see you again.
But you were in the movie, right?
Oh, that happened later, yeah.
Okay. So you got better.
I got better. Yeah. I kept working at it, yeah. Well, I kept doing stage plays, I kept doing that. And then I started doing training for film and television. So those things just kind of naturally progressed from the stage career.
Sounds like you were destined to be a vocalist, and as a matter of fact, you started your own record label, right?
Started my own record label with my first CD, yeah, and that's, as a matter of fact, one of that Bill Withers tune, "Can We Pretend," is the first song on that first CD, and it's incidentally one of the most played songs of mine all over the world. So
Wow, I love that.
yeah,
It's a beautiful song. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know how to pick them. You know how to pick them. It sounds like you know how to pick them for us ladies. Because, I mean, I when I heard you do Hello Lock before, I just knew that I was going to like some more stuff that you've done. But I just happen to like everything that you do. And that's saying something for me. Truly, it is. And you have...
got me blushing here a little bit, so...
So all of these albums are on your label, right? Except for
the Right Groove Records. Yeah.
Right, and you did Vincent Herring's album where you did "Use Me Up," but is that on your label as well?
No, that's on his label.
Okay.
That's the Smoke Records, Smoke Jazz label.
Yeah, you seem to have so much fun in your live recording. I haven't seen you live, just on video. You seem to really, really love what you do. And can you imagine yourself doing anything else? I mean, apparently you tried to do the acting thing and you did it well, so you didn't want to pursue that.
Well, it's a different kind of thing. I mean, I'm so engaged when I'm performing music. I'm so engaged, just the whole process. And acting is really a process of waiting for your scene. You do your prep work beforehand. You wind up sitting in a trailer most of the day waiting to shoot your 5 or 10 minutes of scene, or standing around waiting for lighting to be adjusted. It's just a different animal altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And with music, I'm engaged from the minute I step into rehearsal, and then I step on stage, and it's just, it's instant feedback and just the electricity of being in front of a live audience and having people enjoying what you do, hopefully.
Oh, well, we enjoy it, definitely. Now, you're also an educator, so tell us about that.
I do classes, basically performance classes, teaching about performance and, how to present your music, how to really deliver songs and, interpret a piece. And also selecting your repertoire, just, trying to figure out what you, as a singer, what you want to do and how you want to deliver it, and that sort of thing. So that's what I specialize in, really.
What is the one big lesson that you want your students to take home out of everything that you teach? What is the one big lesson that you wish that they would remember and use as a guide, so to speak?
I'll tell you one of the most amazing things to me is how often people fight what they want to do. They actually say they want to sing, but they get up and all of the panic. They go into panic mode, and they're worried about hitting notes, and they're worried about how they're presenting themselves, and they kind of the thing I want for most of my students is to relax, to enjoy the experience. And to realize that they have more to offer than the limitations they put on themselves. And I've been really pleased with the results that I get once I get people to realize that they have more talent than they believe they have.
I interviewed Miss Nancy Wilson once, and I said to her, because she does a lot of remakes, I asked her about that, and I says, sometimes I think when a person does another person's song, they should do it as good as or better than. And she says, no, what you do is you just bring something extra to bring something from you to that particular song. You don't have to duplicate and a lot of people try to do that. They try to sound like the person whose song they're singing.
Right. That's a big trap that a lot of people put themselves in, and that's something that I immediately take off. A lot of people will do a song in the key of the record that they heard, and it doesn't necessarily fit their voice. Maybe the key needs to be dropped down a couple of steps or something, because that's not their voice. It's a different, it's a different thing. Each individual brings something different and individual to the project. And so you have to sort out what that is.
Have you ever loved a song that you wanted to sing, but when you tried to sing it, it didn't sound right coming out of your voice? Has that ever happened to you?
It's the same thing that I actually teach the students, is that I have to adjust it for me. I have a heavy voice, and if I hear something sung by a high tenor, it's not going to sound the same coming out of my voice. So now do I not only have to change the key, but now I have to change perhaps the arrangement of the song to adjust to my mood, my style. And it may turn out that that's not appropriate for me because, once I slow it down or speed it up or whatever, it's not going to sound the same way. So, I just have to be open to interpreting things as I need for them to be interpreted.
So you're determined to do that song because you like it, but you're just going to rearrange it and make it work for you, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
What's on the horizon for you? Can we look forward to another album, or What's going on with you
Well,
now?
I'll tell you, COVID has really kind of upset my plans, but we're adjusting here as most people are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm starting to tour again in early 22. I'll be touring down south in the southeast
Mm-hmm.
for a few dates, and we're going to hopefully add more dates to that, and I'll be touring there. But I'm working on new music as well,
Great.
both original music, but also some covers that. I'm kind of leaning back into R&B a little bit now. It'll still be
Really?
jazz.
Please
Well,
don't.
it'll still be jazz, but it's not.
Please.
No. When I say I'm leaning back, I'm not going back into begging and pleading. You know,
Ain't too proud to beg.
ain't too proud to beg. You know, I got bad knees. I can't get down and beg like I used to. So. No. Just maybe some more rhythmic elements in some of the music I do. But no, I love jazz.
But you know what
Jazz.
I like about what's going on now? I've been in radio for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
But what I see happening now, because that music now is more than 50 years old now, and I see young artists, young kids that could have been my kids had I had kids. I know for sure that their moms and dads played Smokey and Marvin, and what I'm hearing them do is to rearrange and redo that music and jazzitize all of those songs. And I am so excited about that. When I can hear those ballads from back in the day rearranged in a jazzy kind of way, that just really just awakens my heart. I mean, I have a wonderful time on the air now because it's all so familiar. That's the way I look at the music now, Mr. Beard. I look at those songs as being the new standards.
Well, actually, as soon as I record this one piece, I'll get it to you.
Okay. What is it?
Let me actually, if you don't mind me asking you a question right at this moment.
Okay.
What is radio looking for from us as artists in terms of how to deliver product to you now? Because I know that MP3s and all that kind of stuff are not the way right now, but, pop music is being all delivered electronically as opposed to a CD, that kind of thing. Still like a CD in your hand.
I love a CD in my hand. I mean, I find, just like I told you that night that I wanted to do another Hello Like Before, I went and found it. You go to the Google machine and then it'll come up, and then those MP3s are there. And if I see an album that I want to buy, I will do that too.
Well, I think jazz for right now, because jazz relies really on our names and our reputation, as a jazz artist. So we have to find a way to continue to let people know who's on the record, who's playing, bass, who's on the drums, who's on the, it's part of what the jazz world is about. And that's one of the things I love about it, is because nobody is just like a session musician. And
right. Everybody is a star. Yeah.
Everybody's a star. Everybody's name means something. Everybody's contribution means something.
Right.
Very democratic process in that sense. And I love that. But, as it goes more and more toward electronics, you don't know who's on the record because it's, you just get a MP3 or whatever delivered to you, and that's it. All you know is the primary artist name.
Oh, no, I go find them.
Yeah.
I find them. So, I had a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago ask me, well, why do you name all of those people on the album? I says, because there's no one star in jazz.
That's right.
That artist wouldn't be anything without the bass player or without the, I mean, I love the fact that jazz is a unit. No one person stands alone.
For a minute, I did some track work, performances with recorded tracks and all that. I think I did 3 of those dates, and I said never again, because I need that interaction between myself and the musicians, and that's what spurs and invigorates an audience, is to see that music being made live. In fact, Hello Like Before on that live album, all of that was created on the spot.
Wow.
We late, of course, we knew we were doing the song, and we knew the form of the song, but all of that interaction from the latter half of the song all the way out, all of that was created on the spot. That's all spontaneous.
That's so much fun. I could.
It is, absolutely.
I put myself in that album when I listened to it. I put myself in that club, sitting down, checking you out, and fun is what I feel when I listen to it. A lot of fun.
I got to tell you, I walked out to a completely sold out room. 300 plus people, and they were dressed to the nines. The audience was killing that. They were killing it. They were dressed, and we just had us a good time that night.
You got to do another one. Maybe the next one will be here in St. Louis. Let me ask you, when you do tour, do you bring your band, or are you open to having a bass band? Do you come in and perform with other bands as well?
Yeah, I'm very open to that. That's kind of how I work anyway, because most of the budgets don't allow for to be able to fly 4 or 5 guys in and put them up in a hotel and that kind of thing, and feed them for 2 or 3 days, So most budgets don't allow for that.
Tell me about it.
It's just the way the jazz world works, and it works fine that way, I think.
Is there anything that you'd like to say to our St. Louis audience?
I would love to come up and join you at your music festivals or whatever you have in mind. Yes, and we can figure out the musicians, because I know musicians all up and down the East Coast.
Great.
We're looking at Chicago, and so I'd love to come to St. Louis and perform. So perhaps we can put something together for next year, and I'd love to stay in communication with you about that.
Absolutely. Now, tell our audience how they can see you online. And
NicolasBearde.com is my website.
Okay.
So very simple, straightforward. Nicolas is Nicolas. Beard is Bearde. So NicolasBearde.com. And you can find out all of my dates. And as I say, I'm just doing a couple of local things here in the San Francisco Bay Area, but I'll be touring starting next year. So hopefully we'll get close to St. Louis, if not right in it.
I hope so, Mr. Bearde. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, and thank Mrs. Bearde also for putting up with me. I appreciate that.
She's delighted. It's been a great pleasure talking with you.
I hope so. As I told you, I'm doing it blindly because I don't have my glasses, and there were other great questions I wanted to ask, but you know how that goes.
I would never have known if you hadn't said it. So.
Thank you, Mr. Bearde.
It is a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
And until next time.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye.